Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to decode a term that you're going to be hearing a lot more about. It's a real game changer for economies and, you guessed it, a super hot topic for your exams. We're talking about the orange economy.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll pin down exactly what the orange economy is. Then, we'll zoom out to see its massive impact on the world stage. After that, we're bringing it all back home to India, looking at the incredible opportunities and the tough challenges we're facing. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with a neat little package of key takeaways you'll definitely want for your exams.
So why all the buzz around this term? Well, a big part of it is the spotlight it's been getting from the very top. Like when the Prime Minister talked about it at the Waves 2025 summit. So yeah, it's a big deal. Let's really get to the bottom of what it all means.
The orange economy. I know, it sounds a little abstract, right? So let's break down what actually falls under this, well, very vibrant economic umbrella.
Okay, so here's the core idea. The orange economy is basically the whole process of turning ideas, things like art, design, digital content, into actual economic value. And the absolute key that makes this whole thing work, the foundation it's all built on, is intellectual property. Without IP, none of this really holds together.
You've probably heard a bunch of different terms thrown around before, right? Creative industries, entertainment industries, leisure industries. Well, think of the orange economy as the big umbrella term that brings all of these connected ideas together. The name itself, which came about in 2013, was chosen because the color orange is so often linked with culture, identity, and creativity. It's a way to give this whole universe of ideas a single, unified name.
Okay, so we know what it is. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Just how significant is this on the global stage? Well, let's find out.
Yeah, this is no small niche sector. We are talking about a global powerhouse. I mean, look at that number. It's valued at nearly $1 trillion. To put that into perspective for you, that's already more than 3% of the entire world's GDP. And honestly, it's just getting started.
And the growth? It's absolutely staggering. The UN is projecting that by 2030, this one sector will make up a massive 10% of global GDP. Think about that for a second. In just a few years, 1/10 of the entire world's economy could be powered by creativity. That's a huge shift.
And you can see here, this isn't some new fad. Global recognition has been building for years. Now, for your exams, here's a really handy mnemonic to remember these key moments. Just think SBIB. That's S for the Sao Paulo Consensus back in 2004, B for the Bali Agenda, I for the International Year, and the second B for the Bridgetown Covenant. SBIB. It's a simple little trick to help you lock in that timeline of global governance.
And this is super interesting because it shows the orange economy doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? It's deeply connected to all these other big ideas. Take the green economy. A creative designer figures out a new way to design out waste. That's the orange economy in action. It's totally turbocharged by the digital economy, which gives creators the platforms to stream their content to the entire world. And it even has a connection to the yellow economy, which is kind of like a warning sign. It reminds us what happens when big platforms don't pay creators fairly. So it's all linked.
Okay, so that's the global scene. Now let's bring this all back home and really focus on what's happening right here with the dawn of the orange economy in India.
That Waves 2025 summit was a pivotal moment because the Prime Minister really laid out the vision for India. And a key takeaway for you, another easy one to remember, is the simple but powerful framework of the 3 C's: content, creativity, and culture. These are the 3 pillars that India's whole orange economy dream is being built on.
And listen, this isn't just some far-off dream for the future. This is happening right now. India's creative industry is already a massive economic engine, valued at over $30 billion. That's a huge number already.
And the growth rate here, it's just phenomenal. We're looking at a projected compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 18% for India's creator economy. That basically means it's growing at an incredibly fast pace, compounding year after year. We're talking about some seriously explosive growth ahead.
But of course, to really tap into all that potential, we have to be realistic. We need to look at both sides of the coin, the immense opportunities and the very real challenges we're facing on the ground.
And this slide really gets to the heart of the matter. It's like a paradox for India's orange economy. On the one hand, the potential is just massive. I mean, a market of almost 900 million internet users, that's incredible. But on the other hand, we have these really serious hurdles. The big one everyone talks about is the digital divide. A huge chunk of our population just doesn't have access. And then there's low digital literacy. But just as important are things like IP protection. Piracy is a huge threat that can just destroy a creator's ability to earn a living. And on top of that, there's a lack of a formal industry structure. It's a tricky balance.
So, the big question is, what's the path forward? Let's dive into some of the policy recommendations that could really help strengthen this sector and overcome those challenges.
You know, if you want to make good policy, you absolutely have to start with good data. And that's exactly where the Creative Trident methodology comes in. It's so important because it helps us measure the real size of the creative workforce. It's not just about the obvious roles. For this, we've got another great mnemonic, SSE. It helps you remember the 3 prongs. First, the specialists. Think a graphic designer at an animation studio. Then, the support staff, like an accountant at a film studio. And finally, the embedded creatives, like a designer working at a call company. SSE. It gives policymakers a much more accurate picture to work with.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground. So now, let's consolidate everything into a clear overview for your revision. These are the absolute must-know points from this explainer.
Okay, first up, let's lock in these key definitions. You have to be crystal clear on what these mean. The orange economy is all about turning ideas into value through intellectual property. And the digital divide is that massive gap in access to technology. These are foundational concepts you absolutely need to know. Next up, the numbers. These are the hard data points that will make your answers shine in an exam. And really pay attention to the contrast here. India has nearly 900 million internet users, but only about 38% digital literacy. That single statistic tells you so much about the key policy challenge right there.
And finally, let's recap India's specific policy and vision. Remember, the PM's vision is built on the 3 C's: content, creativity, and culture. The number one challenge, as we've said, is bridging that digital divide. And a key recommendation to keep an eye on is the call to create a national body to really champion and nurture these industries. That could be a real game changer.
So, we'll leave you with this to think about. It's a critical question. As India's digital world keeps expanding and this orange economy continues to boom, how can we make sure that growth isn't just fast, but that it's also fair, that it's inclusive for all creators? How do we build a system where someone in a remote village has the same opportunity as someone in a big city? Because answering that question, well, that's the real key to unlocking India's full orange economy dream.